And we are, some might say, live. Guess what? Via the power of the internet. Wait, Did I Roll a Wild is back. Not only are we back and online and live and streaming, but we're also still your Marvel Crisis Protocol Shapatter Point vlog. I am joined this week by the one and only Mr. Michael Tisdale, and we have kind of a number of things to go over this week. First, in the Discord today, which you can join if you want to, at no cost to you or anything really outside of your sanity. There's a link in the stream chat right now. You can also get one in the show notes to this episode if you want to join and hang out with us there. But there was a long conversation in the Discord today about what exactly makes a mercenary, as I was trying to make an all-mercenary roster. And that roster got expanded very quickly to well over 30 people when initially I was struggling to get 4. So, also today, AMG unveiled their new website, something they've been talking about for quite some time. To make things significantly more easier to have access to information, assembly rules, FAQs, erratas, and stuff across all of their product lines. And that has created a number of things in the community. Some people are like, oh, dope, site's great now. I can find what I want significantly easier. Other people have not had as positive of a reaction, but one of the things that we'll be going over heavily is the new community use of intellectual property guidelines that they have on there. And as far as I'm aware, probably one of the most clear and transparent statements made from a games company, especially for miniatures, as far as how you can use things, when, why, where, and how. But yeah, Mike, how are you?
I'm not too bad. How are you doing, Tim?
I'm doing rather well myself. Now, normally when we start these episodes off, we talk about games played and hobby thoughts. Have you played any games of Shatterpoint or MCP recently, or have you hobbied anything in their general direction?
So I have hobbied a little bit. I built some terrain, which is, all I do anymore when
It's
it comes to building. But I did, wait for it, play a game 2 weeks ago.
really of
Yeah,
MCP or Shatterpoint.
MCP, MCP.
Nice. What'd you run?
Come on, really?
In
Ran
humans?
Brotherhood with Magneto.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
So who
it was
rounds
a
out?
win for the good guys. So we won 16-8.
Nice.
Well, I mean, Magneto is right after all. So,
I've heard that. What'd you
but it
play?
was a good. It was really fun to play.
What'd you play against?
I played against Guardians with Thanos.
Gotcha. Okay, so Brotherhood coming out on top. That's actually pretty dope.
Yes, it was great. We had a big celebration in the parking lot where I told somebody they deserved it for playing Thanos.
All right. Well, pretty dope.
It was all in
All in.
good fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, any highlights from that particular game? What crisis did you play, if you
I
recall?
do not recall. Sorry, it's been a
Okay.
while. It's been 2 weeks. But I know that Magneto KO'd Thanos with two kiosks, which was nice.
All right. Dope. Now what? And you said you've been hopping a bunch of terrain and Shatterpoint terrain, MCP terrain, a little bit of both.
MCP terrain. MCP terrain.
Anything
You
super incredible?
know? We have. I've been doing all sorts of MCP terrain.
Oh,
We
okay.
did we did a bunch of the we have a bunch of the New York boxes left. The apartment, not the apartment buildings, the supplemental set they sold. They had the kiosks and the other cars and light posts, I think, in there.
Yeah.
We built a bunch of those because we had a bunch of those laying around, just to expand some of the things we can do with some of the tables at Adepticon, and built a couple apartment buildings that we had laying around. So
Nice. I know the apartment buildings are just when as the scale gets bigger, it can be quite the task. But you guys pump out a ton of terrain on a very regular basis, and travel it
yeah.
around too. As we talked about a few episodes ago, you guys supply it to a whole bunch of different conventions, including NashCon and Gen Con. And did you guys do Nova as well? I know that was just this last
Uh,
weekend, but
we sent a couple Shatterpoint tables to Nova. We did not send anything else. We sent what they requested. They asked for a couple Shatterpoint tables. We sent those there to
cool.
help out with that event.
So
But
another
yeah, I picked up a bunch of MCP terrain that we had lent Nate GG down in Tennessee for NashCon. So you can see our terrain on a tour at Second Wind in August or October, and it'll be at Warfare Weekend in November as well. So
rad.
you
Okay.
can come see it there.
Well, super dope. All right. Well, let's jump right into it then. So AMG redid their website today. First off, if you haven't checked it out, it's so clean now. Not that it
It
was like,
looks it looks great.
yes.
Like, let's be honest. Like, it is everything is organized well. It's easy to find things now. I think it is from a usability standpoint is a huge upgrade.
Well, and even from the top right corner, like you have the three dashes to kind of pull down stuff. It was not convoluted before, but there was a lot going on, and you kind of needed to know your way around a little bit. But now that
Yes.
three trigger or that three line drop down is just each game type. Each one has its own sub thing for products, transmission rules, organized play, and in the instance of Path of Marvel Crisis Protocol, Path of the Worthy. And then all the assemblies, just it's one own tagline, and then even in there you can find things incredibly easily. This was something I know they've been working on for a long time, but the ease of use is just very nice, especially when you're trying to find information. One of the
Yeah, it's super clean now. I like it a lot.
1000%. In addition to that, and this was kind of the big thing that's been talked about, is the guidelines for community use of our intellectual property. And this is something that a lot of companies put out there, and they kind of just follow kind of basic copyright law. I think they've actually written a really good piece on what is fair use, what's not fair use. They link some very direct stuff to copyright.gov, and gave kind of a bunch of just very clear guidelines on what you can do and what you can't do if you are trying to either create content, be a member of the community, and honestly, what just kind of constitutes or potentially infringes on the properties that they have. So I want to read this opening kind of paragraph that they've put out here because I think it has a lot of really good information and is written very well. So this is from the guidelines for community use of our intellectual property on AMG's website at atomicmassgames.com/IP policy /. And it says, we understand that a good portion of the gaming experience is not simply playing a game, but also strategizing, discussing, and celebrating that game in various ways. This may include anything from making a fan-dedicated web page to making a homebrew scenario or a special rule set for a particular game. A set of custom accessories for your own personal use, artwork, fan fiction, or even a cake. We wholeheartedly support sharing your love or your works of love with the rest of the gaming community and have made this policy so that you know what is and what is not generally acceptable when it comes to making and sharing something that involves the brands and brand-related universes, artwork, text, graphic design, or game mechanics, intellectual property or IP for our games. So, out of the gate, I think as far as communication to a community, that is a very well written opener. That they are obviously all for doing fan-made stuff, custom stuff, making a cake. They go on later under fan creation to say that a fan creation is something that you have made using our intellectual property, being the brands and brand-related universes, artwork, text, graphic design, or game mechanics, and methods of play owned by us in the games we publish. Here are some examples. Alternate art cards or scenarios to use in our games, fiction set in our universes, artwork using our characters or set, fan-dedicated websites, and special accessories. Then they go through, effectively, how to be able to do that. If you make a t-shirt, if you make a cake, if you make a custom dice tray or dice, just don't sell it. That's literally it. It's so straightforward. If you're making a scenario or crisis cards, just don't sell it and share it.
I think they've done a great job of not only communicating this, because I think a lot of companies don't do a great job of it,
Mm-hmm.
but giving the reasons why and giving extremely detailed examples of what you can and cannot do. I think it's good to let the community know what their kind of boundaries are.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there are going to be people on both sides here that are upset. There's some that are happy this is out there, things like that. But this is a business at the end of the day, and they're letting you know what they have to abide by.
Mhm.
And it's super nice that they are putting it out there for you to look at, reference, and you can go to this at any time and check it out. So I kudos on AMG for putting it out there like this.
Well, and I mean, for real, these have always been the rules. I mean, IP infringement rules have been there.
Correct. I agree with that, but it's not so much laid out in this way that people can easily reference it in general.
Mhm. Now, there are a few other kind of caveats as far as, when you are making fan creations, as far as give credit to the IP owner, right? Don't play it off as something as your own. For instance, this was actually a very good way to put it, and they put examples in here too. Only use our brand names and titles as a reference to what your fan creation is about. What does that mean? Say we have a game named Ultra Awesome TM, and you made a scenario for it called Continuum Magic, and you have a website dedicated to your gaming group for Ultra Awesome TM. For your scenario title, do this, Continuum Magic, or Continuum Magic, a fan expansion for Ultra Awesome TM. Don't do this. Ultra Awesome TM, Continuum Magic. Don't make it seem like it's part of the company's actual brand, but you can say, hey, this is an unofficial Continuum Magic thing, or your thing, a Continuum Magic fan project. That is totally fine. And I think if you look out there, that's what a lot of people actually do. There's unofficial
Yeah,
fan pages, there's
very
unofficial
much so.
fan discords. Like, that is super fine. For your website URL, don't use Ultra Awesome in the domain name. Don't say Marvel Crisis Protocol, whatever. Just don't do it. Be a little bit conscious of that. One of the other bits, where was it? Obviously under the don't selling thing, or creating Kickstarters, or asking for donations, or gating behind a paywall. I think that's all pretty straightforward stuff as well. There's nothing really super new there. And do not include substantial amounts of copied, including digital copied game material in your fan creation. So, and I think this particular section covers a lot of sections, whether it's 3D printed models, whether it is literally just ripping the Tactus card format or the Crisis card format and just copying and editing in your own stuff. That's kind of pretty straightforward. You're taking an asset and altering it.
Pretty easy.
Correct, right. But making a Crisis or making a scenario to play or a format is super valid and fun.
Yeah.
Just share it with the community. That's what it's for, right? You're either making it for yourself at home to use by yourself, or you're using it to share so other people can use it. Just don't sell it. Give credit.
Yeah, I mean,
give credit for what it's for.
it's similar to it's similar to the what if format that we came up for
Mm-hmm.
at Adepticon. We came up with a format for Marvel Crisis Protocol. It's out there for the community to find on our website. Anybody can use it, anybody can run it, and we like seeing those events run. Um, it's really it's pretty simple to kind of follow these guidelines, especially now that they've put them out there.
Right, and in that document, which you can find at adepticon.org, it is just there for free. Get it, keep it, download it, use it, play it, run it at your local game store. And it's first off just kind of a ton of fun in general. We talk about what if quite a bit on this show, but it's one of those experiences where, like, whether you're a casual player or a competitive player or something in between, or just looking for something to do, what if is kind of clinical term.
It's a lot of fun.
Dopers McGopers is what I was going to say. But make sure if you use Doper McGopers that you give credit to the original IP and all that stuff. But
I've never got to play in What If, but I heard it's a great time.
I was very lucky to have been able to play in one last year in 2022 at NashCon, and got to run my Oops All Shields list, which was everyone with a shield that could shield throw, and thankfully Winter Guard had just come out, so I had another one with Red Guardian, and just trying to ping shields off of as many people as I could, and it was an actual absolute blast. Dan says, you've played in What If, but was part of its creation? Or never played in What If, but was part of its... Well, so obviously at some point, you need to play in a What If. Instead of just...
Well, I gotta have somebody run stuff for me.
That's fair. That's super valid. Now, this last part, as far as commentary creation, which, affects us directly as well as many other people, a commentary creation is a podcast, video, or written article whose primary subject matter discusses, comments on, and or critiques of our games. Other subject matter is excluded from this definition, such as a fictional narrative. That part is actually incredibly important because that means a lot of different things. This is great. We love that you want to talk and write about us. If you receive direct or indirect monetary sponsorship by way of active or passive donation of advertisement revenue for a commentary creation, that will not be considered selling under Guideline 1. That's a very good statement for content creators. Very good statement. But revenue generated from a commentary creation cannot also be used to support a fan creation. In other words, you can ask for donations to support the cost of your podcast, video, or commentary creation, but you cannot exchange any goods containing our IP in return for that donation. Goods not containing our IP don't fall under this policy, but be careful that they do not appear to be sponsored by us. Once again.
Now, I'm not in the content creation sphere, but
Mm-hmm.
this seems very, very simple to follow as well.
Mm-hmm.
It seems very, very black and white, very, very kind of simple. Like, I think they're giving the content creators a lot of leeway.
I think so
and
too.
Just some very basic guidelines to follow.
And once
Like
again,
I said, I don't think there's anything here that is that controversial.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's one of those things that's actually kind of nice. There's actual clarity here if you're in the content creation space or trying to get into the content creation space, knowing what the rules are specifically around AMG's properties, having that from the get-go. You're not really going to find that with other properties. We're big fans of all sorts of different miniatures wargaming between GW or Infinity, but they don't produce this for you to even know. You kind of just got to either figure it out for yourself or know someone who knows someone, and even they're usually flying pretty blind. The fact that this is out is actually hugely important for us because now we know. We just know now. When you just had to kind of like guess and roll the dice before. There was a couple other things about no apps allowed under any circumstance. You'll find this pretty much standard across any game system. Any third-party app is never okay, and regardless of how... And I really like how clear they were of, like, whether they follow all of the above rules or not, sorry, apps are a thing. And that, from a licensing standpoint, is very kind of straightforward. Any third-party Disney or Fox or whatever app, they all get taken down. They're all very obviously unlicensed and unapproved of. They're on marketplaces, right? So if there's ad revenue generated, if you can pay for an app, if they have a subscription program, it's all very heavily against any IP and licensing. And at the end of the day, a document like this and any IP policy is a blanket, right? It's to say these are the things that are not okay. Does that mean they're going to be sending cease and desist letters to every single person that's ever done anything other? I doubt it. But it at least puts it out there from a legal standpoint that says they are, in fact, trying to protect it. And they have to do that. Otherwise, they no longer have a company. So I know a lot of people are getting upset, but this has already been the case. They're just making that clear and telling you why.
I mean, AMG is partnering with Marvel and Lucasfilm on these games. I mean, I'm sure that there are things that they have to abide by as well. And by them putting this out there to make it crystal clear what you can and cannot do, I think is a great service to the community. I think it's great to have this out there that anybody can reference at any time.
Mm-hmm. Well, and yeah, that's the thing, right? Is that, well, this guy did this and this other guy did this. Well, which one broke the rules that are very clearly listed on their website. But yeah, I think this is something they've been working on for a long time, and a massive shout out to the people that worked on this at AMG, because this is, once again, just something that's just so nice to see, just so nice to actually have access to. You can pull it up on your phone and double check before you go to an event, before you go to a show or whatever. It's all there, all there. Any other thoughts on that before we jump into?
Just to second what you said, kudos to AMG for putting it out there. It's awesome to have with all the examples and everything they put in there.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you're thinking of doing, if you consult this first, you will probably get an answer of if you should be doing it or not. So
they also have, and this is kind of the last thing, as far as one of the things that I struggled with when going to AMG's site was finding the transmissions that I was looking for. It was always easier for me to go to Facebook and go through that to find the transmission. In the drop down under the three dashes, there's actually just a transmission section. You can click on whether it's the studio and organized play, MCP, Legion, Shatterpoint, X-Wing, and then they're all just there in a row. You can just look through, or you can search by affiliation, which is so dope.
I don't remember this on the website, but there's a keyword search now for these transmissions.
Yep.
Was that there before? I don't remember seeing it.
There may have been, but it searched everything. Like
okay.
Across, like, so, you type in like whatever Zemo, and now it has anything that Zemo has ever come up with. But maybe, I can't remember, maybe there wasn't. And that's the thing, not having that to reference is awkward in itself. But no, it's just as far as actually finding that, it's just convenient, especially when you're like, they just announced the core box too, right? And you want to find all of those things without having to search through multiple Facebook groups or Discords or whatnot. It's just like, you can go there. And actually, let me try this. Let's try this live. Probably a bad idea. But we go to transmissions, and we type in core. Actually, yeah, that works. Dope. And it comes up with the transmission over the Why We Made the Earth's Mightiest core set. Type in, let's try Spider-Man.
Did you have to search for Spider-Man?
Oh, do you want me to search for someone else? Magneto?
Literally anyone else.
Oh, okay. How about Iron Man? Search. Yeah, and all Iron Man stuff comes up. Hulkbuster, new Iron Man from the new core box. It's all there. Dopers. But we got to talk about some mercenaries, Mike.
Okay.
So I was having...
You love you some mercs.
I do. So I was looking through some memes, right? And one of my favorite interactions in the Marvel Universe is the interactions between mercenaries with one another. Deadpool and Bullseye's relationship is very genuine, very complicated, but also very straightforward. Same with Taskmaster and Bullseye, Taskmaster and Deadpool, Phantom X and Gwenpool, Luke Cage and Iron Fist, also having the Heroes for Hire, which Deadpool based the Mercs for Money off of. I really like Mercs, and I really like the way that they interact with each other like heroes don't normally. I think there's a lot less facade. One of my favorite bits in Marvel history is when Bullseye is hired to take out Deadpool, gets frustrated after just hours of chasing him down and rocket launchers, and there's a part where I think Deadpool comes out in a frozen pig carcass because Bullseye couldn't throw anything through the frozen meat. And at the end of the day, Bullseye was like, listen, man, I was paid for this. I don't spend money. All I do is earn money and assassinate people and do dirty work because I like to do it. I actually don't care about the money all that much. Can I just pay you to go away for a couple years? And then it'll be like I did the job. It'll be great. I'll pay you like $2 million, get an apartment, just hang out. And Deadpool's like, yeah, okay. I could do that. And does. And that's how they like ended a Deadpool series. He just like went away for a while. And same with Taskmaster and Bullseye. Bullseye getting hired against Taskmaster for two rich dudes to teach them golf better. Bullseye, obviously a great shot. So the one guy hires him, another guy hires Taskmaster. The guy who hired Bullseye doesn't get any better, obviously, because Bullseye's like, well, I'm not golfing for you. I can't teach you this. But
Right.
But Taskmaster with the photogenic reflexes and stuff is like, oh yeah, just do this. Boom. Teaches them it, no problem. And they have a back and forth about it, and I think that's super funny. So I want to make a roster that is all like the quintessential mercenaries. Now, those three that I mentioned already, very obviously mercs for hire. Mercing people for money. That is what they do. Now, to expand on that, what really makes a mercenary at the end of the day? How do we keep this roster to a point where we're actually making decisions without being like, well, everyone in Hydra is kind of a mercenary? I don't necessarily think so. Sabretooth and Wolverine, are they actually mercenaries, or were they working for an organization? Does Weapon X count as mercenaries? Is Cable a mercenary? Domino 1000% is a mercenary. But what about the other members of that group? Do you have anything in your head right out of the way that says this person is a mercenary, so they should be included?
For me, like Gambit is like a mercenary.
So
He's willing to do anything for money.
mm-hmm.
You know, even if it's good things or bad things to good people. And that's kind of my barometer for a mercenary. If they're willing to not have a moral compass for money, that's a mercenary for me.
Okay, I think that's actually a very good distinction. Because on the Discord, it turned into, Red Hood. Is he a mercenary? I don't think so.
I would say no. I don't think so.
And I would say the same for Kingpin, even Green Goblin. I don't find a mercenary.
No, Green Goblin's not a mercenary.
So when looking up like the top 10 mercenaries in Marvel, it came up with a lot of characters that are in the game already. Crossbones, 1000% a mercenary. Moon Knight.
Yes.
Gambit. Luke Cage, Domino, Iron Fist, Punisher. Now, Punisher is one I kind of took an issue with, and I think you would probably agree there. And
yeah, Punisher's a bad guy, but he is not a mercenary. He would not take money to sell out his ideals.
correct.
However wrong his ideals are.
And I think you
he
hit it
would
on the
not do
head
that.
when you were like, a mercenary is someone that is willing to do bad things to good people for the right price. And I think
Correct.
Punisher's super willing to do bad things to bad people, but not necessarily.
Oh, I mean, that's his whole shtick. He doesn't have a shtick if that goes away.
Correct. Dr. D says John PCN sells out all the time, though. He's a real merc. He does. Whoever that is right now, I think it's my mom, actually, last I checked. But yeah, John PCN.
Is your mom John PCN?
I do believe my mom is currently John PCN. She beat me in Shatterpoint on stream a couple weeks ago, and I think someone was like, does that make her John PCN? I was like, I guess. So
beating you in a game is how you get to be John PCN?
Well, so we haven't really announced this officially, but there will be a tournament series to be able to be John PCN. It's a little bit of a gauntlet.
Oh, come on.
It'll be a little bit of a gauntlet, but it'll be super worth it. I think I already said Batroc. Taskmaster, Ironmonger, who I initially assumed was Killmonger in Iron Man outfit. It is not. It's, what is it, Jebediah Stane? Or Abadiah Stane, something like that. The guy that like steals...
Obadiah.
Yeah.
Obadiah.
Bullseye and then Gwenpool were on like the top 10 list. And surprisingly enough, most of those characters are in the game. Silver Sable and Phantom X aren't, as well as Batroc, which I didn't realize until reading that article that meant I wanted Batroc in the game. But Ironmonger, probably not as likely, but Phantom X and Silver Sable, I think, would be dopers McGopers.
Yeah, those would be cool to have in the game.
Taylor says, new roster idea.
See, I would... Oh, go ahead. Sorry. What did Taylor say? I guess we could give him a second here on my show. Go ahead, Taylor. What do you got to say, bud?
New roster idea. Who would be the top 10 candidates for John PCN? That I really like. All characters named John.
I think that's really good. Yeah.
That's a lot of Red Skulls, though. I don't know if I want... Or I guess that's Johan, right? It's not John?
Well, I mean, come on. It is. Red Skull is going to be the John PCN. I don't know how you feel about that.
Not great, personally, but
Well, you should let better people in your organization.
Wow. All right. Probably. So the thing is, so I really like that distinction. So that would have character now. So like Wolverine, Sabretooth, willing to do bad things to good people for money.
Yes,
Sa-
both of them. I
Sabretooth,
think so.
traditional mercenary though.
Maybe not a traditional, but like you could talk Sabretooth into it, and it wouldn't take you a lot.
Yeah, I find that pretty valid. Wolverine though.
And depending on where you find Wolverine in his story arc, like you could definitely talk him into doing bad things to good people. Probably for a cigar and a beer.
All right. Yeah, no, well, see, that's the thing is, does he usually even take the money, or does he just steal Cyclops' motorcycle to steal it, whether he's told to or not?
That's stealing. That's wrong.
So he's doing a bad thing to a good person, Mike. These are your terms that you've rued. Bad thing to a good
He's
person.
so he's a mercenary.
I hate it. I hate
No,
it that fits the definition.
Wolverine is a mercenary.
Okay.
I hate to tell you this, but you guys get to have him. Captain America would not approve of Wolverine. That should actually be the barometer there.
I don't know. Doesn't he?
If Captain America approves of your actions, you get to be a good guy. Otherwise, you're a mercenary.
Huh. Captain America approves of Punisher for the most part. Doesn't approve of the methods.
Not really.
I don't know. Maybe that was just one scene I'm remembering from Civil War. But other characters that I think I forgot to mention, we had Crossbones, Taskmaster, Bullseye, Elektra, Deadpool, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Gambit, Moon Knight, Gwenpool, Winter Soldier. What do we think there as far as mercenary?
Winter Soldier?
Yeah. Does brainwashing count as payment?
I see. I don't. I personally don't think so. I don't think Winter Soldier is a mercenary in the true in my definition.
Okay.
I don't think he's a mercenary. Like someone like Rhino would be a mercenary to me.
Now, see, I completely disagree there. So, like, by the definition of he's willing to do bad things to good people for money, sure. But I don't know. He just doesn't have the mercenary vibe.
Tim, that was my definition.
It was your definition, but it's not necessarily my definition. I don't like Rhino as a mercenary. I don't think that's right. You can be a criminal and not be a mercenary.
Sure. Like Magneto. Magneto would be a criminal that's not a mercenary.
Yes. He's an extreme protester. That's not a mercenary.
Yes.
Um,
Correct.
Now
you couldn't pay Magneto enough to sell out on his ideals.
Yeah, 100. Actually, yes. Yeah, so people of heavy virtue. So, and I think that's the thing that exonifies Punisher as well, right? There's no amount of money that would have him betray his ideals.
Correct.
Okay. So, and this was another big part of that discussion was Guardians of the Galaxy. Rocket and Groot, before joining the Guardians, were mercenaries.
100% mercenaries. 100%, without any question.
Gamora, the cosmic assassin, was it for money or was it because of orders?
It was because of orders. It wasn't because of money.
So you have Gamora out, even though she's willing to do bad things to good people.
Correct.
All right. Nebula, same deal?
Yes, they would fall under the same cloud to me.
Okay. Which is, once again, just confirming, people that are willing to do bad things to good people but don't count as mercenaries.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Star-Lord. Mercenary?
To me, he feels like a mercenary. He would do it for the money.
So, and I think it's important to distinguish, right, that you don't necessarily have to be murdering people or KOing them.
No,
let's say
it's doing bad things.
So stealing for hire,
Correct.
Mercenary. Black Cat.
Correct. Yeah, I'd say she's a mercenary.
See, and this is how do we limit this to less than 50, or is that just a new format? Is anyone that has taken money to do bad things to good people just a merc format? Because it's like 80 characters.
It can't be just one. That's the thing. It can't just be one time. It has to be a consistent pattern of being willing to sell out your ideals.
A pattern. Okay.
Yeah.
So Hmm.
Okay, we've been playing with my definition of what a mercenary is. What is yours? Because clearly you don't agree with me.
So I don't agree with any of even my own previous mercenary-based rulings. Because initially I was like a contract killer, um, which Black Tom and Juggernaut could technically be a part of that.
I
Now,
wouldn't consider either of them a mercenary, though.
right. So, I mean, there are Silver Sable. So there's the obvious ones, right? I think those 10 that we listed earlier: Luke Cage, Iron Fist, traditional mercenaries. But I don't think that they would take money to do bad things to good people. But they are definitely mercenaries. They are definitely heroes for hire.
Yeah, but they're heroes for hire. They're not bad guys. Mercenaries are bad guys.
No, mercenary is just a contractor that will do things that other people aren't necessarily willing to do.
No, that's because it's bad things usually.
I don't think that's necessarily accurate.
Oh,
Uh,
I think it is.
I think that Deadpool has taken jobs, many jobs that are doing surveillance or stealing back something that was stolen in the first place, stuff of that
I mean,
nature.
Deadpool's a mercenary though. Like he'll do anything for money.
But he won't do that. Oh no, no, he
Yes, he
won't do
will.
that. Listen, if
I've
we
seen the movies. He will do that.
okay, so what would your roster of 10 be if you were trying to make a roster of just mercenaries, just merking around?
So models. I like that. So models that are in the game.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Uh, okay. I think Deadpool's your leader.
Well, he's not a leader.
Oh, I thought we were going to give him a leadership ability.
Oh no, 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 no. I
Oh, well,
want to
this is
play a
easy.
roster of 10 that is all mercenaries, but because the term mercenary could be a little ambiguous, I want to boil it down so I can get a hard roster of 10 that could have an affiliation potentially, if possible, to play.
So if I'm picking 10 that are in the game, it's Deadpool, Domino,
Hmm.
Moon Knight, Gambit. We'll give you Luke Cage and Iron
All
Fist.
right, I'll take it.
What am I at? 6?
Yes.
Uh, I would go from there. See, I would say
Because
Rhino.
okay, so and once again, this is you building a list, so I'll
Yeah.
accept that.
I would also probably do Gwenpool.
Hmm.
Uh, I know I'm missing some.
So I'll throw you a softball, and I think my roster is going to be based around Criminal Syndicate with Claw as a leader. I think Claw, very obvious mercenary.
Oh, I forgot about Claw. Yes, Claw is a mercenary. I
Hmm.
forgot that box was out. Sorry. So Claw is your leader. Yeah, definitely. Because he has leadership ability.
But there's got to be another guy out there, guy or gal that can lead a mercenary group. I want
Logan. Logan.
okay. So, but all the all right. So you
Because
said
I would say Logan is more of a mercenary than Wolverine
I completely
at
agree.
that point in time.
Yes. So potentially Weapon X, but once again, that's fighting under the Weapon X subtype, right? They're part of an organization at that point. So like
Correct. But
Apex.
there were times when Logan was not under the Weapon X program that I fully believe he would count as a mercenary.
So Apex, Predator, Sabretooth, I think probably easy mercenary as well. OG
Yeah, pretty
Sabretooth, maybe
easy.
not as much because he's very much under the Brotherhood banner at that point.
Correct. Yeah.
But okay, so you could potentially go Weapon X. Um,
Yeah.
X-23. I don't know a whole ton about X-23, but she seems like
I don't either. If she's under that Weapon X banner, she seems a bit roguish. So
yeah.
like she could definitely be under there, but I don't know enough about her story.
She's so from my understanding, because I have read some with her, just not a whole ton. Um, she was more like we point pheromones at this target, and she takes him down uncontrollably.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I think Taylor's right. She's probably more assassin than Merc. Primarily concerned. So, Taylor says, Mike got it on the nose, by the way, Merc definition. Primarily concerned with making money at the expense of ethics. That paraphrasing of what Mike said, I think, is the perfect definition. Primarily concerned with making money at the expense of ethics. Rhino does not have the ethics to say I shouldn't steal or Merc. He is not primarily concerned with making money and giving away those ethics. Those ethics are already there.
You just not want Rhino on your squad?
He doesn't.
You just don't want him?
He doesn't scream Merc to me, man. No. You got to have ideals that you're betraying to be able to betray those ideals. Stealing is he doesn't.
You're telling me Rhino doesn't understand that stealing is wrong.
He doesn't feel that is something that he should not do for free on a regular basis. Rhino would do those things without...
I hope you warmed up before you stretch that much.
No. Rhino would do the things that Rhino would do the things that Rhino would do without being hired to do it. He just does them. That's just Rhino. That's not a mercenary.
Yes, but he would do them for money, and he knows they're wrong.
But they're not. He's not breaking his own ideals. His ideals say, I can steal.
Would you prosecute Rhino in a court of law? Would he be found competent for trial?
Yes.
Exactly. So he knows what he's doing is wrong.
But we're not talking about whether they know it's wrong or not. We're talking about betraying their ideals. He's not betraying his ideals when he goes out and steals from somebody. If he's hired to go steal for someone, he's also not betraying his ideals because he would do it anyway.
I don't think you're right on this. I think I'm right.
I think you are wrong.
And this is my show, so I'm right.
Well, I mean, you have to beat me at a game to be John PCN. You got to beat my mom at Shatterpoint to be John's PCN. So
you will never play me at a game. So
that's not true.
Actually, I did beat you at a game at Gen Con. What was that game we played? The card game that I beat you guys at twice.
Dumb Ways to Die.
Exactly. I won twice.
Mm-hmm.
So I am John PCN apparently.
Dr. D says Bullseye would not ever do what is right, even if he was paid. All right. So now by that definition, of my definition, of Taylor's definition, of Mike's definition, that would mean Bullseye's not a merc. And I'm not willing to accept that, Dr. D. At all. At all.
Dr. D might be right on this one.
That Bullseye's not a mercenary? No. I disagree.
Okay, if he has an ethics structure that's all bad, and he won't get rid of that to do something for money that's good, he's no longer a mercenary. He's following his own values. That's by your definition.
Hold on.
I agree with you, Taylor. Dr. D is a merc.
Yeah, accurate. Now, see, okay, no. So, Bullseye, 100%.
He's a merc with text-to-speech.
That's actually incredibly accurate. But so Bullseye, 100,000% merc. He's now betraying his ideals because he doesn't do those things for not money.
I agree with Dr. D on this.
Rhino doesn't wanton kill people for not money. He thinks that's wrong, so he doesn't do it. But he will steal for himself. And just being a thief is not being a merc.
Correct, but he would do those things for money.
Yeah.
Which would violate his principles, potentially. Rhino is the type of person that would take money to violate his own principles.
Does Rhino have a history of working for other people, though? Or is he normally just crashing into banks to steal money for himself?
I don't know. I don't read Spider-Man.
So what I'm hearing is that his primary concern is just stealing for himself, not primarily defying his ethics. Right?
I I think that every time I've seen Rhino, he's working like on behalf of Kingpin. So
Really?
he's kind of a merc. Yeah.
I did. So normally when I see him, it's just like, oh, Rhino needed some cash again, so he ran into a bank.
I do kind of avoid Spider-Man though, so
Yeah. Well, he avoids most attacks because of his spider sense too. So,
not buildings.
so far you had the Heroes for Hire, Deadpool, Taskmaster. You're taking out Bullseye now, apparently, but putting in Rhino, Claw,
Yep.
Gwenpool. So you're at 7.
No, I thought I'm putting in Logan and
Oh,
Apex
Logan and
Predator.
Apex. Okay. And you got one more.
Yeah.
Who rounds out that
No,
mercenary roster?
I thought I had 11.
11.
No, you know who's gonna round it out just for fun? Black Cat, because I like that model.
Okay. Oh, Gambit. I think I forgot to say. I think that was the one that I missed.
Oh, okay. Well, if you didn't say Gambit, Gambit's in. If I'm at 9 with Gambit, it's Black Cat is the last one.
Okay. So I think I'm in a pretty similar spot outside of a couple. I don't want Logan and Apex Sabretooth in there. I also don't want Rhino in there. I also don't think the Black Cat one bothers me a little bit because like she doesn't scream traditional merc, but by every definition that we've talked about, all 17 that I've said were mine, I think she falls into the.
She does. So what is your list here? Let's go through it. I'm gonna write it down.
So out of the gate, Claw, Gambit,
Okay.
Deadpool, Taskmaster, Bullseye, Crossbones, Elektra. So I got 3 left. Luke Cage, Iron Fist. And the last one would be.
I must have missed one. I have Claw, Gambit, Deadpool, Taskmaster, Bullseye, Elektra, Cage, and Iron Fist.
Gwenpool.
Gwenpool's the one I missed. Okay.
And Dr. D, I do really want to say Sentinel Prime. But.
You say Sentinel Prime, I'm ending this show right now.
Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe Shadowlands Daredevil?
Daredevil's a good guy.
Not when he's Shadowlands Daredevil.
He's still a good guy.
If the Hand is a group of mercenaries for hire to kill, then the leader of them is definitely a mercenary. I don't know. Dr. D also says Sentinel Prime classic mercenary, so.
That's painful.
That Daredevil's in there? Listen,
yeah, because Daredevil's a good guy.
That gives us 2 criminal syndicate leaders, too, so we can use versatile strategy and run both. I really wanted to somehow shove MODOK into this and just rebrand him as mercenary organism designed only for contracts, but spell contracts with a K. I think that's
good. Trademarked by Mortal Kombat. I don't think you can do that.
Oh no, yeah, combat with a K is trademarked, but not contract. Tim, you made a great enemy this day, says Dr. D. Daredevil is the polar opposite of someone who goes against their ethics.
Dr. D gets it.
Well,
I like this guy more and more.
Don't get possessed by a demon, man. It literally makes you go against your ethics. It's almost like it makes you a mercenary. That's so weird how that works. I would almost even take Gambit out.
How dare you?
I don't know who I would put in his place. But there's got to be someone from the Brotherhood. Pyro, I think you could make a mercenary.
No. I don't think so.
Oh, Domino. I don't think I said Domino. Put Domino in there instead.
You did not. Instead of Gambit?
Instead of Gambit. But Crossbones is such an easy include for me.
He's not in your list, though.
He is. He was the first one I said.
You said Claw first.
A Crossbones Claw.
Plug. Oh, okay.
Oh, am I now at 11 now?
Yeah, you are now.
All right, take out.
Shadowlands Daredevil, because he shouldn't be there.
No, nope. Crossbones, Claw, Deadpool, Taskmaster, Bullseye, Gwenpool, Luke, Iron Fist, Shadowlands, Daredevil, Elektra.
That's 11.
I counted 10. Am I just really that bad at math?
Maybe I am. I don't know.
All right. Well, anyway. Now, if you were to expand that, Tim, you can be assured this will come back to haunt you. Daredevil is literally pure. I'm not talking about Daredevil. I'm talking about Shadowlands Daredevil. It's a different one. It has the same name. Maybe they're brothers, man. I don't know. But one's the leader of a criminal syndicate. And I think that's
Daredevil would never abandon his ethics.
What do you mean? He totally has.
No, fake news.
Whoa, okay. Daredevil, right? Protector of the weak, right? The people that can't protect themselves. You know who can't protect themselves? Bullseye in a hospital bed. Who snuck into Bullseye's hospital and beat the ever-living snot out of him? Good old Matt Murdock.
Yeah, he probably deserved it.
I'm not saying he didn't, but he was defenseless.
Was he? Is Bullseye ever actually defenseless?
In that particular position, yes, I think so. As hard as that is to admit, yes, I think he does have the capacity to be vulnerable. And sometimes he can defy that vulnerability, which is why he's a mercenary.
So Matt Murdock is not as good of a guy as like Captain America, but he is a good guy. And good guys sometimes have to take care of bad guys when they're in bad situations. Cap would never do that. Cap would wait for him to be full strength.
Would he?
Because Cap is who we should all strive to be, Tim.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree with you there too. Cap willing to sacrifice superheroes as a whole just to not have to write his name on a dotted line. How many deaths could have been prevented if Captain America had just fallen in line and not made a resistance? You know? Poor Goliath.
Family-friendly show. It's a family-friendly show.
Poor Goliath. Wow. All right, I don't like that this episode is just going into you and Dr. D agreeing with each other a whole ton.
Are we?
Not at all. But before we head off, there is a mercenary that is getting a new model and card. And that is, the first on my list, Crossbones. Mike, would you like to go over Crossbones real quick with me?
Sure. I have not had a chance to look super close at these cards, so I'm kind of excited for this.
I'm actually going to use the new AMG site
because I didn't get to demo at Gen Con all day, every day.
You should have come over. I would have been happy to give you one.
I tried, and you told me to get away. Go back to my side of the hall.
Well, that's where you belonged. You go back over there with your stupid vest, and I'm going to wear my dope shirt. But the new Crossbones card, which, you know, if you may have been thinking, oh, Crossbones, not a mercenary. Well, guess what? His name is Crossbones Merciless Merc. So, jot that one down. But Brock Rumlow, actually, let me get this up on screen for y'all, because I'm a nice guy. Let's just go boom.
Can we, before we dive into the rules, is it possible, real quick, to talk about how good this model looks?
Oh my gosh, yes!
I absolutely love this model. This might be my favorite sculpt out of this box.
So, very legitimately, I am kind of inclined to agree with you. It is absolutely stellar. Like, absolutely stellar. And there in the new core box, there's a whole bunch that are really, really, really good. The Dr. Octopus holding the vial is also super great.
I even think the Black Widow is super cool.
Oh,
where she's kicking off the Hydra drone.
With the kicking off the Ultron drone?
Yeah, the Ultron drone, sorry.
And it's cut in two pieces, too. Like, it is severed in the middle. She is kicking its torso off of its lower body. It's
Yeah, I think all the sculpts in this box are great. I do think Crossbones is my favorite though. There's just something about it that just kind of oozes that character to me. It's just super cool.
Go ahead and keep talking while I try to get this up on screen. What else do you think?
Are you trying to get the card on screen? I take it.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know what sort of firearm he has on his hip, but that thing looks vicious. I don't know what it's supposed to be or where it's supposed to be from, but it would take someone the size of Crossbones to fire that thing.
Yeah, you're probably not incorrect there. And that's actually a pretty big part of his character or his character card, which is definitely like so close to being on screen right now.
Is it?
I
Because it's
think
on my
so.
screen.
It is. Boom. There. Oh, why is it so tiny? Oh, nuts. It's all hecked up.
Genetics.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us. But, boop, here it is. Boom. Got it.
It's working great on my Mac.
Classic. Yeah, you would say that. Anyway, so Brock Rumlow, the Merciless Merc, 422 for defenses, which is the same as his OG character box. 6 health for 3 threat, size 2, short movement. Everything for the most part is the same. Here's the first major difference, and I'm glad you brought it up, Tisdale, in that gun. His gainer is the plasma beam. Beam 3, B3, strength 5, 0 power, gains a power after each attack is resolved. This is on a 3 threat, remember. Beam 3. With Pierce.
It's so good.
With Pierce on a wild and a skull. And then you can change one of the defending's crits, wilds, or blocks to a blank. I love this, like, just so much. As far as Crossbones, a short mover, being able to put him on a back point, like a lot of people would use Wong, kind of as a cheaper character. Granted, he's not 2 threat, but leaving him on a back point where people aren't going to be, I think is going to be a really great use for him. And we'll find out more with his first and only superpower, or active superpower. But he also has up close and personal as his spender. This is physical. Range 2, strength 8, 4 power. After this attack is resolved, if the target character is size 2 or less, this character throws it short. So he keeps that spender that he has from the OG, where he gets up there and he hurls people, which I really like. However, he does not have the steroid of the overpower like he does on the original core box. He now has hit and run. And this is why I think he's going to be a great addition to have on that back line. Move up, hit and run, beam some people, move back. Constantly scoring points.
For 3 points, I think it's really good.
Oh, very much so. He also has aggressive, which can also help him get further up for points if people do try to peg him off that back line. And then he has I can't take it. Now, in the core box, we've seen...
No. He can take it.
Oh, he can take... No, sorry, that's what I meant. You can't damage him as much because he can take it. Now,
yes, he can.
Compared to Iron Man...
He can't do this all day, but he can take it.
That is very true. Well, we don't know. He could have that on his injured side. It could be there. Like, it's not. That card is out. But, like, he could. He could do it all day.
It better not be. When we flip this card, it better not be.
Listen, I struggle enough to get the healthy card up for this, so we're not even going to bother with the unhealthy side. But he, unlike in the core box where he could pay 1 for inured to pain to reduce the amount of damage by 1, not to a minimum 1, just reduce incoming damage by 1, he now has an innate where when this character would suffer damage, he reduces the amount suffered by 1 to a minimum of 1. Now, he and Iron Man kind of flip-flop their invulnerabilities in the new core box, where Iron Man's before was the Iron Man armor, which reduced it just like I can take it. Now, Iron Man has I am Iron Man, which you can pay 1 to reduce it by 1, not necessarily to a minimum of 1. So I kind of like how they flip those, both the side that they're on and the character that it's on, to mix them up a bit. But with Red Skull's new leadership, where you can count the first skull as a crit in any one of your rolls, I think that plasma beam can be really awesome. If you happen to be like me and you constantly roll 3 skulls every time you pick up dice, it's gonna serve a very nice spot, especially when you do that.
I get a Pierce out of it now.
right? And now it's like, oh yeah, this is like guaranteed now. But yeah, I think great model, insanely good sculpt. Really like him quite a bit. Excited to see him out there in the new core box.
It looks like on his injured side, the only thing that changes is he's 5 health. It looks like everything else stays the same.
That's what I thought, and that tracks with the
Yeah.
traditional Crossbones and kind of the villains, starting really strong, right? And I really like that. That's kind of an ever-present theme. Is that characters that kind of come out or ambush people or kind of get the drop on people usually have higher stamina on the healthy side, and then they get worn down very quickly, or as things start to turn, when they're on their injured side, they lose some of that stamina.
Did you see in this article, Tim, where it says Captain America is the representation of the best of humanity in it?
In the panel to play for Crossbones,
Yeah, third paragraph, last line. Just wanted to point it out.
he is the epitome of darker human emotions, the balance to Captain America's representation of the best of humanity. Well, maybe if he got a super soldier serum, he'd be the best of humanity. But he's not. Not everyone's that lucky. We're not all lucky Captain America
Did you not
people.
pay attention to the movie? Good Lord.
Uh,
It amplifies everything.
right?
Good becomes great, bad becomes worse.
So, listen, all I'm saying is Crossbones at the end of the day is still the epitome of something that's human. He does a good job at it. He does the best at it, some might even say. He's the best there is at what he does, and what he does is darker human emotions.
Oh,
Heard it here first.
you did, and only here probably.
But I think
Not going to get analysis like that anywhere else.
that is actually very accurate, insanely accurate. And once again, you can get that Crossbones transmission on the new AMG website, and it's been it's more easy to find than ever.
You can do what I did and just search for Crossbones, and it pops right up.
It's pretty nice.
It really was.
Good job, AMG.
Tim, I know we're short on time,
Mhm.
but I have a question for you.
No. Go for it.
Okay. What if, for the What If event next year, you could play any tactics cards as well?
Elaborate.
You could bring Drop Off or Rocket Boots.
So you're saying.
What if we just got crazy with it?
So what you're saying is I could run A-Force with Kingpin in it, give Kingpin rocket boots, have him drop off She-Hulk, and then have... Nope. No, never mind. Listen, I could drop off and have a different flyer that was A-Force affiliated, special delivery She-Hulk. That would be dope.
Yeah.
That would
Or,
be dope.
Magneto can drop off Juggernaut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it can't really be what if unless you could say yes to every what if scenario, right?
I think we may do that. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a way for people to utilize some of those cards that have been gathering some dust. I think it might be an interesting thing. So we're kicking that idea around. So I was just curious what you thought of it.
I like it a lot. I'm curious how to implement it, or if I think no rules equals better. But
just for that event.
But just for that event, yeah, full send it. Full send it. Field dressing back on the map, rocket boots. I don't know.
Right?
I know no one loves rocket boots as much as I do, but it's just very funny to me to have Kingpin dropping off people with rocket boots for a round. Like that's
those have to be some very powerful rocket boots.
They are. That's why they're banned. It's because they were very powerful rocket boots. But no,
I think it would be fun. So
yeah, full extended rules. I like it. But yeah, so
Dr. D asked a question. He wants to know if you can go over your childhood traumas and how they influence your decisions.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, you can find that on the cleanup phase, probably. Patreon only MCP based show. And that's where the real meat is. That's where all the childhood traumas rest. But yeah. So I think that's going to bring us to the end. Mike, thank you for stopping by. This was an absolute blast, and thank you for indulging me in not still having a firm definition on what I think mercenaries are. And I think
you literally have the definition. It's in your chat.
That's true. That is now the official definition. But yeah, thank you for coming by. And as always, guys, we come out with podcasts literally every single day on professionalcasual.com, whether you're looking for actual plays of Pathfinder 2nd Edition, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition, Arachne, the miniatures game, Comic Book Rundown, does all sorts of comic book reviews. Head over to professionalcasual.com, check those all out. There's a ton of content there, regardless of what you're into, or unregardless, some might say, because irregardless is not a word that is now in the dictionary. So now, if you want to say irregardless, please say unregardless, because that is not currently in the dictionary, and the only one of those that is not a word, at least for the time being. But yeah, blogs, vlogs, everything. We stream here on Twitch every single weekday. Yeah, catch us at Adepticon next year, where there will be the first timeline event, which sounds real dope. If you want,
it does. We'll reveal a little bit more about that in the near future.
Ooh, well, that sounds awesome. Speaking of things being revealed soon, Mini Stravaganza is next week, and we will be doing a whole ton of stuff for that. So make sure to tune in, because AMG doesn't ever disappoint with Mini Stravaganza, and I am stoker magokerd for that. But yeah, have a good one, guys. We'll see you next time, and remember to leave the blood on the bracket. This has been your Marvel Crisis Protocol Point Shatter cast.